A viewer of Church of Uganda Family TV, it's always joy and a pleasure to know that you're part of the Ask the CEO program, which runs every Thursday at Church of Uganda Family TV from 9 to 10 p.m. Now, this show will always bring you successful entrepreneurs, both men and women, to tell us their story exactly. Where have they come from? What are some of the thorns and valleys that they've persevered to get to where they are? Now, today in the program, I'm bringing you a lady known as Mrs. Regina Nakayenga, who is the CEO of Rena Beverage Solutions Limited, and of course with another lady known as Nantege Regina, or you can call her Regis. Now, I stand in for Ndugu Apollo, who is supposed to host this show, Apollo Sabiti, but he's not with us. My name is John Jimmy Musimbi, and at this opportune moment, allow me give a chance to my guests to say hello to the audience. Starting with you, Madam Nakayenga Regina, please say hello to the viewers.
Good evening, viewers. I'm Nakayenga Regina. Pleasure to be here when you are viewing me.
Okay, thank you for that introduction. I would love to give Madam Nantege also a chance to say hello to our viewers.
Thank you for watching Family TV. I am Regina Nantege. You can call me Regis. I'm a nutritionist at Rena Beverages, and I'm happy, delighted to be a part of Ask the CEO.
Wow, thank you. And when we talk about Ask the CEO, this is actually what we mean. Now, starting with you, Madam Nakayenga Regina, I would love to understand. The viewer out there would love to know who is Madam Regina, because as we say on this show is, where does your story begin from as Madam Regina?
Nakayenga Regina hails from Mityana district, Busuju County, Butayunja sub-county, Ngandwe Parish, Ngandwe Village. I'm a daughter of Mr. and Mrs. the late Matia Serwada and Sepiranza Serwada, generally known as the progressive farmers of Matoke and the tea. However, when I grew up, I settled in Chireka, Wachiso district, Chira municipality. That's where my home is. And I was educated in several schools. I did my primary in Kachindu Primary School. Then I moved to Stella Maris in Sube. I did my HS in the Caltech Academy Makerere. Then I joined Chambogo University as a teacher. By that time, it was called Institute of Teachers Education. And later on, I did my bachelor's in adult and community education, and that is Makerere University. Finally, I did my MBA in Esami. I have children. They are all grown, and one of them is here. I have a son, Dr. Joseph Ogavu, a daughter who has a degree in nursing, Grace Nalkwago, and I have Juliet Mirembe. I've also supported many of my cousins, nieces, nephews to study since I'm near schools. I'm interested in farming as a hobby. I love music and dancing. I also love watching hobbies and TVs and travel. So briefly, that is who I am.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much for that, and I believe the viewer out there gets a glimpse of the CEO we've hosted today in studios. But of course, you've moved with another lady that you've briefly introduced. But of course, somebody out there would love to understand who is Nantege Regis.
So Regis is a nutritionist by profession. I help people eat healthy. I did my secondary school in Amgongo and later on joined the university to do a Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition and Dietetics. And I'm now currently doing a Master's in Human Nutrition. So I'm very passionate about food and its impact on human health.
Oh, well, as brief as that. Anyway, I understand. Now, coming back to you, Madam Regina, I would love to understand. You talk about your journey of life, how you've moved. You've been a teacher. Tell us about that experience as a teacher.
As a teacher, actually, I joined the National Teachers Chambogo as a person who was passionate about teaching, by the way. And much as I had wanted to specialize in agriculture, I did English and RE. But I've been I was a very good teacher, and in every school I taught, the students passed very well. I remember when I taught in St. Joseph Kachindo, SS, that year when I got the results for the students I had been with for 3 years, they all passed. At that time I was in Kenya doing a course, and the headmaster and the parish priest just sent me a message that all your students passed. It really enabled me to feel very great. But apart from teaching as a secondary school teacher, I graduated to teach in the university, and I taught in Chambogo University in the Department of Adult and Community Education. Then I also taught in Nsamize Training Institute. But I loved teaching. Actually, it is while I was teaching in Chambogo University, teaching entrepreneurship, that I began to think seriously about starting a business which could cater for my old age.
Oh, actually, most of the students out there always make fun of some of the teachers. They say they don't practice what they preach. So actually hearing this, that you had that passion, when you're teaching entrepreneurship, you actually felt that you needed to go and practice what you're teaching. That is good.
Yeah, it is very funny. You talk about preparing your old age. You cannot remain a teacher forever. You need to start something which can sustain itself.
True.
And sustain you, prepare yourself for soft landing. Also provide opportunities for the youth to work, because most of the time the youth who have really performed very well, you find them seated at the veranda waiting to become teaching assistants. That thing really touched me, and I thought, I wish I can create job opportunities for these students who are performing very well. And when I started my business, I had some good students who had qualified with even a first class to work with.
Okay, and how did that make you feel? putting out knowledge into people, you impart knowledge into them, and then, they pass highly and you work with them as colleagues in the end. How does that feel?
It helped me because, you are talking with the people who and easily understand, especially if the students have very good grades. They easily pick the concepts you want to put across. They even add in.
Okay.
That is the good thing with it. And afterwards, when they move on, because some of them really moved on, they still remember what you have helped them to be.
Because of that interaction that you
Yes.
had with them and the practicability of what you were passing on and working with them closely.
Yeah, and the viewers, I want to tell you that around Christmas Eve, I get kickbacks. Somebody comes with a pump and says, Mama, you really did a good job. I'm depending on what you instilled in me.
Wow, I hope you share that with us this Christmas as Church of Uganda Family TV. Okay. Well, that is really interesting and passing on knowledge and speaking to people, and then they appreciate. It shows that there is content coming in and there is growth, especially on what you're passing on. So kindly highlight, how do you transition, introducing you to the audience. I mentioned that you are a CEO of Rena Beverages Solutions Limited. How does that dream come into play now? You're working with students, you enjoy what you're doing, it's fun and you're getting kickbacks, I mean. So how do you get tired of something like that to transition into Rena Beverages?
One, I've told you that when I was teaching entrepreneurship, I saw entrepreneurship empty if you do not practice something. However, there were also coincidences that came across my journey to transition, because the product I'm doing came as a result of when I was teaching with colleagues, and then I reached my menopause, I have my hot flashes. So I was sharing with a colleague and telling her this is a problem. So she told me, no, if you take, for example, hibiscus, it will help you with your menopause. And by that time, as Catholic Women Guild were going through a training in value addition, so I went and attended that training. I got skills to do juices. At that time, my children were still in school. I gave them the juice. They loved the juice. Everybody loved the juice. The teachers loved the juice. So I learned a skill. And then, as I was also...
Was that a paid-for skill? Was it an organized whereby maybe the Catholic Guild offered it at a free cost? Because many people look for such chances and they're not there.
It was free in most of it all, but
okay.
As members we had to pay 5,000 shillings
Which
to
is
participate.
affordable. Yeah, that's quite
yes,
affordable.
I paid, and because I was still teaching, when I came in, the ladies were saying, you must pay. So I said, okay, I'm going to pay. And I paid. But when I learned the skill, or in the process, it clicked in my mind. And I said, I've been looking for something to do in my old age. This can be the answer. And why would it be the answer? It's because staying in Chireka, which is an urban area, I looked at the possibilities of using the fruits, which are usually in plenty at the time of harvest, for me to make as much juice as I want, as much wine as I want. as much snacks as I want. So I told the fair ladies that, this is an opportunity for us. We can do as much juice and you can do as much wine. And then I started doing that. That's when when a lady told me that you can take hibiscus, I had gone further from what I had learned to explore other things which I can use to make juice or wine. So one of the things which I was using at that time was hibiscus. And when a lady friend told me, take hibiscus and get rid of your hot flash, I straight away went and used the hibiscus, drank it, and it really made my life feel so good. The hot flashes stopped, the period became so smooth. I gave it to my children, I gave hibiscus to my mom who had pressure and so on, and we started doing business in the fruit juices as well as in hibiscus. It really took on and took off properly. I used my communities as guinea pigs to test the products, and they found them very nice. So gradually we transformed our kitchen into the factory, and later on we have moved to grow our business by acquiring equipment, expanding the market, and like that.
Wow, that is very elaborate, as you've just heard how she was motivated and inspired to start up this project, which has now become a company. As she has explained to you how she was inspired by a colleague on the problems in life that she had, and the hibiscus actually helped to solve that challenge. Madam Regina had just shared with us the motivation that led her into this business. But remember, in the beginning, as we were beginning the show, she told us she doesn't work alone. She works with, it's a family business, and one of the people running the company is actually her daughter, who is Nantege Regis. Now, I would love to understand, turning to you, Regis, tell us about what motivated you to join working closely with Mommy, because previously you've been telling us here that you are a nutritionist, you're still pursuing your further studies. It means you're a busy woman, So choosing to say, okay, let me concentrate and work with Mommy. How has that journey been? What motivated you into joining Mommy to work closely together?
Thank you very much. I believe that as a child, because this business started when I was still in my senior 5, you have to be guided at the start of you actually engaging in such work, because as a child you obviously want to spend your holidays seated at home watching TV. So her parenting skill and her parenting style is for all of us to actually get engaged in the work. So the first engagement wasn't by priority, it wasn't voluntary, it was more of an obligation as a child, which I don't regret. Because like when she talks about the juice making, she would call us to wash the fruits, and she would make sure we are the ones taking the measurements. And in addition to that, when you're doing the packaging, it would be you to actually do the packaging. And one thing that was exciting about that, especially in my senior 6 vacation, is that I was given a sort of mini title as a production manager when the juice business had started. So it was exciting to feel like you have a position of authority, and then it started to make sense that this is not just housework, but it's actually work you do. And most importantly, the fact that I actually had a small monthly salary, for me that was a deal breaker. So I think the transition into actually being part of the family business came from being a house chore to becoming an actual production manager. And then because I was, even before university, I was a food and nutrition student in school. So I had some skills in cookery, which are also vital in processing. And so it really came in easy to transition into this. It was by coincidence that I was interested in a subject related to the business that she chose to take interest in. So it was easy to really transition. Yeah.
You know, you talked about there was a monthly salary and you're smiling, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
if it wasn't there, would you actually have joined? Because you see, this question is very pertinent because majority of the children actually do not want to help out in the family businesses. I, for one, my mother runs a boutique at Mbale Central Market. But I think right from the firstborn to the lastborn, we've all been part of the business. We've grown with it. I think none of us is new to the business of clothes. Now, it's different in some families. You find that some parents either do not want to involve children because of their bad behavior, they take away the money, and the business eventually collapses, or some children actually put in conditions that if the pay is not there, I do not work. I don't know whether there was that rope pulling with mommy of if the salary is not there, I should come in, or the issue was about passion to grow and then the money aspect comes in later.
I believe that she's a very wise woman. She played the cards well. When we were young, it was we wouldn't decide on how beneficial it was for you to play a role in building a family business, and then it was a house chore. You couldn't refuse to play house chores. Even in church, they preach that you have to respect your elders. So it was easy to dive in. But I believe that it's also about being a parent who knows that your children also have their brain and they understand. So at a certain point, I believe that you have to now have a conversation with your child, not as your child, but as an employee, so that you actually put in the money payment like you would pay another person. So I think that it shouldn't be thought that a child has refused to work because they're not paid. But I mean, if I'm 18, I now want to be able to buy my own toothpaste and not ask you for money. It's very exciting, even if you gave me just 10,000. That would encourage me. So I think even in a family business, a child should be considered as a consenting adult and given a chance to earn a living. And besides, as a parent, that's what you want. You want your child to learn how to value their labor, because you wouldn't want to find them elsewhere working for no pay.
I think that was really wise of her, as you've said, because, you know, most businesses that collapse is because people do not differentiate with professionalism and issues to do with family. So once you merge the two, actually, it brings trouble. And now that she knew, even if it's my daughter working for me, but I have to pay her, I think that was really wise of her.
And maybe just to add, I think the other issue is I've had a chance to witness work at Trainer, and I think it all goes back to competencies. You can have a child, for example, in the clothing business, and you want them to participate in your boutique selling. But if they don't have actually passion for fashion, you're also misguiding them by forcing them to be there. So it's just by luck that for me in person, I had interest in this particular subject. So I think even when your child is not necessarily skilled, the ability to deliver on a certain task is really defined by their passion in that area. So maybe if I am having a business as a parent, I shouldn't also think that it's by default my child will take interest in that particular business.
Well, you're right about that. Now, turning back to you, Madam Regina, I would love to understand, how has your organization transformed communities? I'm so glad, and I believe glad just as the viewer out there is, that you started impacting right from the grassroots, where just as the Bible says that beginning from your own, I think you fulfilled that scripture, and that is good. But outside, beyond your family, how has Rena Beverage Solutions Limited impacted the communities of Chereka and the neighboring areas where you operate from?
Rena business has impacted people in very many ways, because we make products that have nutritional and medicinal values, or call it healing properties. And that's why we came in. Then the other thing is that we produce products that have high quality. So we ensure that the products we produce are good for health when they are organic, and they are organically grown, processed from very clean environment. We are UNBS certified and NDA certified as well. And when you look at the packaging of our products, they are quite good and really attractive. But even what is inside there is...
So for example, what is that product? You talk about how it has transformed communities, but what it is, we only sing a couple. What does it do?
Let me talk about one product at a go. Let me talk about hibiscus. We have it in several packages. Like this is a tea bag, which the CEO can use in their offices and get a clean cup. But it is rich in vitamin C, iron, potassium, calcium, and antioxidants. When you take it, it can help you to cleanse your body, build your immunity, as well as refresh you. We have it in also a concentrate, which is ready for diluting. We have it in a juice. It can be used for different people, or with different people, those who want sugar and those who don't want sugar. But when people take this product, they really refresh, and because of the nutritional values in it, they get cleansed, and then they find their lives improving. The product can be taken by children, adults alike, people who are sick, people who are well alike. You want to come in? Let me finish this. So she will say more about the nutritional composition and the benefits people get from our products. But when you go down there to the community that grow the products, it has also impacted them. It has generated money for their households, and so they are able to meet some of their day-to-day needs, like paying fees for the children. And talking still about hibiscus, you find that hibiscus as a crop, it attracts bees. So people can grow hibiscus and also harvest honey from the bees, but also the bees can help to pollinate the other crops, such that the yields for beans, for maize, and other crops that are pollinated by bees increase.
So actually you shoot two birds with one stone, we should say.
And when we look at the other products which we use, the empirivuma, which is from the wild palm tree, people have stopped now cutting those palm trees for firewood or for charcoal, because they can get more money harvesting the palm seeds instead of cutting them down. And also the swamps are preserved that way.
Okay.
But
I think she can supplement
the
nutritional bit. Yeah, exactly.
I actually wanted to compliment on what the impact is on community, because what I've noticed over the years of being a trainer, now 10 years, I've noticed that most of the employees, especially in the production department, are actually youth from around the community of Chireka. So while we believe that these are casual workers and probably getting a bit of a pay, their lives are impacted in terms of them being also household heads. So it's very, very important that we realize that if these micro and small cottage industries like Rena Beverages are a part of every community, we are actually employing a portion of people in those communities like Rena has done.
Okay, now, but okay, you are a nutritionist. You give a very good supplement of maybe the provision of employment opportunities, especially in the areas of Chireka where the business operates. What would be the most advantageous nutritional value that will make me, John Jimmy Musimbi, go buy a Rena hibiscus drink as opposed to other products on market? Because it's not about just provision of employment opportunities, for example, but coming from the professional perspective of a nutritionist, I would love to know the value my body gets when I choose a product from Rena Beverages.
Okay, thank you. So coming down to say the low and old people in Uganda, the key nutrient in the hibiscus which we use, particularly the calyx, which is the red part of the plant, is that it's really rich in iron. So in a country like ours, where 1 in every 3 women are anemic and 1 in every 2 children aged below 5 years of age are actually anemic, we are actually impacting lives because we are providing a family with the ability to have a source of iron on a daily basis with just a drink. Typically, these households are not going to eat meat every day, liver every day to get their iron, but they can have a cup of hibiscus tea or juice and actually have their iron. This is very important because the impact of iron, as it sounds, it may seem like it's just some nutrient, but the impact is actually very big. When you are anemic, even at mild levels, you're ever tired, you're ever fatigued. Because iron is what actually carries oxygen around the body. So if your oxygen, which is so vital for your life, we all agree, is not being carried around in sufficient quantities, definitely you're going to be fatigued and dizzy. So it plays a key role even in the smallest ways. And on a larger extent, it plays a role, for example, in maternal deaths. So we are impacting lives indirectly. Because if these families are consuming a cup of hibiscus tea, it means that the mothers won't be anemic. Okay. 1 in 5 of the mothers who die during childbirth die because they were anemic. So we are actually saving a percentage of those lives. But moving on from the anemia, the hibiscus is also really rich in antioxidants. The red color in it is an antioxidant, anthocyanin. So it actually plays a role on the other diseases which are for the affluent who may not relate with anemia. We have conditions like diabetes, hypertension. Not that it cures them, but it has a preventative role it plays. So it's something to have in every home.
Wow, this is really good. The viewer out there, I think you can really try to see that Madam Nakayenga Regina, as a person, as an individual, has made an impact in the society. When you look at Regis Nantege, has made an impact. Now, you who is seated out there watching this show of Ask the CEO, what have you done to create an impact in the society, in the country, and anywhere that you are positioned as a person? So, me as John Jimmy Musimbi, of course, I am making an impact by sitting here and bringing you this show of Ask the CEO, and of course, I'm inspiring many youths out there of my age who have actually not done anything for themselves. So I'm passing on knowledge, and that is the impact that I'm creating. Now, we are discussing issues of entrepreneurship. The guest I have in studio is Madam Nakayenga Regina and Nantege Regis. And of course, we are discussing a journey of a teacher who transformed and transitioned her life into entrepreneurship, the family joined in, as you've seen the daughter trying to explain the impact that they've made to the society. Now, Madam Regina, you highlighted about the impact you've made, especially to the farmers, changing their lives by supporting, by buying the raw materials from them that you actually use to make these products. Talk about that.
Thank you very much. We work with the nearly 400 people because they grow small acreages to make the hibiscus flowers which they give us. But other than the hibiscus flowers which we buy to make the juice, the tea, the wine, etc., we also found that they were throwing away the seed. And we have really come up with this product which is very nutritious and it saved the farmers losses because now they sell us the seeds. We do coffee from it, snacks and others, and it is quite nutritious. But the most interesting thing is that we have also taught the farmers how to make juice, tea, coffee from the same. So they help their families to improve on their health because they drink the same products. In addition to that, we are exploring technologies that can make work for RENA, for the farmers, more decent. For example, we realized that drying hibiscus was very difficult for the farmers. Now we are introducing solar dryers among our farmer groups. When they harvest the flowers and they wash them and process them, they just put them in the solar dryers and now they rest and do other things. So that is a big contribution. And we are introducing to them also the harvester so that instead of wasting a lot of time to do a simple job, they can just cut the pods and put them in a hibiscus harvester, which is like a pulper for beans, coffee beans, and they will save quite a lot of time and money doing this. Meanwhile, we shall get quality hibiscus to put in our different products and to ensure that our consumers, our target people are taking the best quality of our products.
Well, we appreciate that. Now, turning to you, Regis, you know, you've talked about all the beautiful things, you've painted a good picture that somebody out there actually watching will think it's a bed of roses. Anybody can wake up in the morning and they start up a company and things are doing well, you're impacting societies just the way you and Mama are putting it here. But I know that it's never a bed of roses starting a company. You are a quality controller, for example, in RENA Beverages. What are some of the biggest key challenges you faced as a company?
The biggest challenge for any lean startup, by lean I mean an individual or a group of people who have started a business with a very low capital put together, in terms of you start with just maybe the 50,000 and then you grow the revenue. It challenges you because for a manufacturing business like this, for example, you would have to buy the raw materials prior to production. You have to pay the staff monthly before you even acquire any sales. So that means that this is going to affect your cash. So the biggest constraint for me I see, that I've seen at the start of RENA, was that you had to have cash constraint. For example, by the supermarkets, since you are supplying them with a product, they take your product and then they keep it. When it's done, that's when they pay you. Meanwhile, you have to be paying your staff, you have to pay the suppliers. So the issue of having a negative cash flow is a very big issue in a startup. But the other challenge that I've witnessed, again, because it's a manufacturing business and in my docket as a quality control person, is that you want to have your product bottled for the customer in the best way possible, but you're limited to the only packaging solutions that you can access locally, because if you decide to import, that's an extra cost. So the packaging choices, well, the customer compares your packaging to something that has been made, say, internationally, and yet you have very small options of packaging options locally. So I think that's a very big challenge. I'm localizing this to Uganda. It might be different for someone else in a different country where there's so many options of packaging. But then the third challenge that I've seen is human resource. As a startup, you're selling a dream. You're selling the possibility of reaching out to the entire region, as opposed to a business that has been in existence where they already have their reach and they have their monthly target sales already hit. With a startup, you have to have people who are actually not only there for the money, but they actually believe in your dream as a business. They believe in the tomorrow being better. And that is hard to find, because all of us are looking out for a job that is paying as best as possible, while for a startup there will be some low months. For example, during COVID, you may not be able to hit your revenue targets, so you may have to pay salaries in 2 halves instead of paying them in a batch. That might not be so easy for most people to bear, but also for someone to create with you, because Rena started as a cottage industry. That means that everyone who had to work there had to think along with the managing director to create products, to sort of play multiple roles. For example, our accountant sometimes plays the packaging, the procurement role. Sometimes it's helping with making sure the distribution is done. That kind of multitasking is not easy to find in individuals. So I think it's a big challenge for small and medium-scale industries, just as it was for Rena at the start.
Rena Beverages Solutions Limited has changed your life as a youth. But I also want you to take note that as we are having this show right now here, there is a youth outside there who has actually lost hope due to unemployment. What do you have to tell them? What advice do you have for such a person?
I will say that at the end of the day, it's about being relevant. Whether you're employed formally or doing something of your own, it's about being relevant. So any youth who is out there that is not employed, how are you relevant? Because if you come to a company, for example, like Regina Beverages, we have staff, yes, but in case someone walks to Rena and says, I have this strategy for you, I can do this for you, it means they're offering value to the business. They're solving a problem for the business. Even without necessarily starting your own business, there are businesses out there that have problems to be solved. Can you be relevant to those problems? Because it may be capital intensive for you to start your own business, but what if you offer the solution to a business? For example, if I came to Rena as a nutritionist and said, I have no job, but I see your products do not have the nutrition information listed, and I have the ability, these have, but I'm saying in case they didn't have, and I have the ability to help you with listing it. That's staying relevant. And with that relevance, you get paid for. I was just lucky that I got a chance to stay relevant while a young girl, and then it showed me how to also create business ideas, create new products. But in summary, one thing I said to any youth listening, at the end of the day, no one is going to pay you for doing nothing. But if you're relevant, even if you're seated in your room and you're being relevant from your bedroom, people will actually look for you. So offer value and people will pay you for that value. And 2, educate yourself. The bachelor's degrees we get, I am a master's student myself, so I'm pretty much going up in the academia line. But at the end of the day, it's about the value you give and the skill you get.
Wow, This is really perfect and on point. I believe any youth outside there who is watching Church of Uganda Family TV right now has understood that it's not about the papers. I mean, you may hold a bunch of books, but it's about the value addition. Turning to you, Madam Regina, what would be your concluding remarks as we wind up? What the Muganda says akatalekeka. So what would be your akatalekeka for the Ask the CEO this evening?
Okay. One, I really want to thank Sabit for identifying me as a guest. We share one thing in common with him. We are both BNI members. And
what is BNI? A viewer out there might wonder, what is this?
It is a company that survives on networks and referrals. So when you see potential for your friend, you refer and you give her opportunity or him opportunity to do business or to be out there, to be exposed more and more. So that is what Sabit has done. But I want to tell the viewers that RENA, Rio Natural Beverage Solutions, is a generation company. It is a family company, but we want to see that this company lives forever and ever, for generations and generations, like the Mruanas, the Madivanis. And I'm sure it will, because I've put in effort to bring in the younger blood, and thank God that the younger blood, my children, are in for it. All of them. She's here as a representative. Then we want to build our products to be household name. Hibiscus. Let it be a household name. RENA Hibiscus. Everybody asking for hibiscus. And beyond what RENA produces, we are also training other people to produce quality hibiscus products, so that when people take hibiscus, they are saying it is hibiscus. It is not quack, it is not everything. So we support other people in the same industry, and that's why we are even trying to bring in technology to ensure that our other colleagues are not competitors. We don't believe in competitors. They also get the quality hibiscus raw materials to make quality hibiscus products, juice, wine, etc. And we also believe that our products are a sip of health. When you take our products, because of the quality, because of the nutritional values and the healing powers, they help you to improve your life as a sip. Our products, you can take them anytime, anywhere, because every day we take tea and it is very easy. But why not take the RENA hibiscus tea? And finally, we want to thank people who are now helping to finance our businesses in terms of accessing us soft loans. And actually, of recent, we got Oxfam to give us a grant to provide at least a solar dryer to a group, which is very, very good. And the OVO Estin Rising. So as we graduate from where we are, a small organization, now people are beginning to associate with us and they want to help us transform the society.
Well, thank you so much. Maybe Regis, any concluding remarks that you feel it's burning and you must say it before you conclude the show? There you go.
Yeah. For any small cottage industries that are family oriented, it's just a reminder that at the end of the day, we all can participate in family businesses, but we should pay attention to the competencies that we bring to the table so that our businesses prosper. Not just about having family members, but about actually building a business, just like a brand that's not a family business. That way we shall grow the businesses. And the other one is to fellow youth. where you see an opportunity, the opportunity doesn't actually come to you as the actual opportunity, but it comes to you in forms of probably a problem that you're excited about, not because the problem is there, but because you're excited about your potential to solve it. So don't look for opportunities, but look for problems to solve. And even when you have that first idea, go ahead and implement it. Your idea won't be published in its first form, so don't fear to launch that first version. Launch it, and over the years, just like Rena, you will learn what works for the customer. But you will not learn what works for the customer if you sit at it on your table and never launch it. So just get that first customer. They will inform you about what the next customer wants, and before you know it, you'll have the thousands of customers, just like we do in the various supermarkets.
Wow, thank you so much for creating time to create the content that makes this show rich. As Church of Uganda Family TV, we are grateful for this opportunity, and we hope that many of these engagements that inspire the youth, the people who have lost hope out there, can start up something like Krena Beverages Solutions did, and really it has impacted the society. Well, I do thank you so much, our dear viewer of Church of Uganda Family TV, for being part of this edition of the Ask the CEO. I want you to remember that Ask the CEO runs every Thursday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. only here at Church of Uganda Family TV. If you want to enrich your life with content which talks about empowerment like this one, Church of Uganda Family TV is the solution. Now, my name is John Jimmy Musimbi. I wish you a good night till next Thursday.